Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to today's information session. My name is Tong Liu, the Senior Director at FTI Consulting Software Solution Team. Um, Here with us today, we have John Nater, the recruiter from the early talent team, Dan Witinok, the Senior Managing Director, David Holland, Managing Director, and myself from the Software Solution Team. During today's session, if you have any questions, feel free to drop that in the chat. And towards the end, we'll have a separate Q&A session. So this is today's agenda. We will covering some information about FTI Consulting, the recruiting timeline, our software solution team's overview. And our goal today is to provide you all the information you need about our two opening positions, the 2025 summer internship and the 2025 fall entry-level position. The QR code on the screen is the registration link for today's session. If you have not registered, or you can use your phone to tap it into it and register with your email. And just give everyone a moment, and we will switch to our next slide, which is the introduction of today's presenter. First, it's John Nater from Early Talent Team. I'd like to introduce John, and he will covering the general information about FTI and our recruiting timeline.
Hello. Yeah, looking forward to discussing all things about the recruiting timeline. I'm John. I've been with the company for about 3 years, focusing on our segment, forensic and litigation consulting, and specifically recruiting within that segment, which we'll touch on later, what all of that even means within our software solutions practice, which we'll be learning about today. So nice to meet you all. All right, we're going to jump right in here into FTI Consulting at a glance. So here at FTI, we are a community of global experts who make an impact for our clients when they are facing their most significant challenges and opportunities. We have over 8,000 professionals in 33 countries and territories around the world. And our main goal is to help, as a company, is to help organizations manage change, mitigate risks, and resolve disputes. And how we do that is through what I was just mentioning about something like forensic and litigation, through our segments, which I'll discuss on the next slide, which once we switch slides here, yeah, I'll talk about that in just a second. But we will about what makes us unique. Here you see the 4 key factors that make FTI Consulting unique. Our definitive experience comes from the extensive knowledge all our experts bring to our clients. When we say we have a culture that delivers here, we foster a working environment that not only finds solutions, but intends on making meaningful ones that we can be proud of. We offer comprehensive services, and you will often see at FTI that our practices often work together to solve problems. And finally, we have the industry experience with teams that are filled with many levels of knowledge and on-the-job experience for our clients. So now on the next slide, we will talk about those 5 segments just briefly here. In order to meet client challenges and gain opportunities in a global economy, it's really important to have a full range of experiences. And this is why we have the 5 key segments. So you can think of these segments as the overarching pillars of FTI. And within each group, there are practices and sub-practices that do all the slightly different things, which today we're focusing on one of those practices, software solutions. So we're going to discuss that coming up here shortly. So if we move on to the next slide, you can see that we have offices in 87 cities, as you can see here. And this type of global reach allows us to service clients across the world. Moving on a little bit, I just want to chat quickly about our diversity, inclusion, and belonging, or shortened to DIB. We use a lot of acronyms here, so if throughout this presentation you hear people use acronyms, feel free to ask, because it's very easy to get lost in the acronyms when you're working somewhere. You probably know this from school, things that you do in school that have acronyms to them. So we do place a very high emphasis on diversity and inclusion as a firm. So I just wanted to walk through this quickly to talk about our initiatives, our DIB initiatives, so you have a better understanding of our culture here at FTI. We are committed to creating an environment where people are respected and appreciated and inclusive for everyone here at the firm. Because data shows that diverse teams are more innovative and successful because everyone is bringing a different perspective to the table. So this helps us meet our clients' needs as well. And one of the ways we do this is on the next slide, which talks about our ERGs, another acronym standing for Employee Resource Groups. As part of this inclusive culture, we have created these ERGs that you can see here. These groups were formed by FTI employees to create spaces for networking, community service, and fellowship. They're kind of like clubs and organizations at your school. These groups are a great way to not only get involved at FTI, but also network with people who share similar values. So that's just like a very brief overview of FTI itself. I just want to touch on the recruiting timeline ahead before we jump into the software solutions segment. So if we can jump up to the next slide after this one, just to give an idea of what our recruiting timeline really looks like as a whole. So if you look at this slide, you can see we have the impact program. So if you are a sophomore right now, this is something you can apply for. And this is an opportunity to have basically give underclassmen a glimpse of FTI in a 2-day usually program. It's a leadership program, virtual, that allows you to learn about FTI and give you a head start to your journey at FTI Consulting. Followed by that, we have the summer internship program for grad days between December 2025 and August 2026 for current juniors. This goes across all segments, but for software solutions specifically is what we're looking at. It's the same thing, a 10-week program spanning June through August 2025. And then finally, our early talent for the seniors. This position specifically for software solutions will be called a developer role. That's for people who are currently seniors. And this is a post-grad opportunity, typically starting sometime in the summer or fall of 2025. So what does our recruiting timeline look like now? That's what we're all probably asking. So if we go to the next slide, you'll get an overview of the timeline for this recruiting cycle. We are on the final week of applications being open. Applications close September 13th. Make sure you get that in. So once you submit your application to software solutions, and that would be under the forensic and litigation consulting segment application, you submit to that application, whether it's intern or the full-time role. After you submit that application, between 1 to 2 business days, usually you're going to receive a preference form. That's key there when you receive that to your email to complete that as soon as you can, preferencing New York with software solutions as the main practice. That is going to put you into our pipeline to be considered for this role. Once you do that, you will get another notification for a pre-recorded video interview. Make sure to complete that timely as well, as applications close for the initial application on Friday, but you must complete all those steps no later than Sunday. So that is our timeline for those final pieces. As you can see, first round interviews will take place in October, followed by, which is usually a 1-round interview, 30-minute interview, followed by Super Days, also virtual. Usually around 3 interviews there. By end of October, all offers will be extended, so you should have an idea of where you stand by end of October. And as you can see, all of those interviews will be held virtually via Microsoft Teams. So with that being said, that's an overview of what we're doing. I believe I'm handing it off to Dan to start the conversation about software solutions. So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Sean. Yeah, I'm going to give an overview of the software solutions team. I am the Tom said, senior managing director of software solutions. I'm effectively the lead of the team globally. I started the team about 10 years ago. I've had a hand in hiring pretty much everybody within the team, definitely those that you see on the screen today. Within software solutions, I was directly involved with the recruiting efforts for. I am not a developer. My background is in data analytics. My background is in computer forensics. I have a strong technical background, so I saw a need to be able to start this team within FTI. And so kind of that's what we did. The idea is to be able to build software and software solutions specifically for clients. It could be internal or external, to be able to solve a need. That need could be really kind of anything. We fit under the data and analytics practice, mostly because we have to fit somewhere, but really that's just because we are the technical practice within the forensic litigation consulting group. We are not an analytics practice. The rest of the team is. The software solutions team really does focus on building web applications specifically. We are similar in the sense of data analytics, in the sense that we are agnostic to the industry, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. But really, the core of what we do is to build software to be able to help, as the kind of that's highlighted there, build applications to simplify data interactions. That could be a claims solution, that could be an augmented bolt-on. I'll go back, Tong. Sorry, Tong, you can go back. Could be a bolt-on solution for an AML tool, or it could be an FCPA or Foreign Corrupt Practices Act solution, or it could be a workflow tool. Really anything under the sun, as long as there is a web solution that could help solve a client's problems, again, internal or external to FTI, then we are the team across the 7,000, 8,000 employees that build those solutions. Tong, you can go to the next one now. I think that the core of what we really do is we are not a out of box solution. We build bespoke applications. So we are not competing with a software company, whether it's in the US or anywhere. We are competing against other consulting firms to a lesser extent, or really we have no other competition, just because we are building something that's specific for a client. Why we are important is because our clients will want something, whether their business does not, it's not possible to have an out-of-box solution. So we build something specific for them. That's where we kind of get this end-to-end and exact specification at scale. We work with our clients, understand what the requirements are, build them top down, integrate with their current products, whether it's single sign-on or other ERP systems, and then roll it out for their solution, their corporation globally. Where a out-of-box solution does not fit, we do not try to compete with out-of-box. I'm making this point only because we're not going to be working on just one thing. We work on a number of different things at FTI. Our development cycle is typically around 3 to 6 months. What's not listed here, we used to actually have it, but we have over 15 different products and over 30 different clients that we've worked with and are working with. We might build a software as a solution. We might build a one-time build for a review tool. It really depends on what the client would need, is asking for, what they need. Go ahead, Tom, go to the next slide. Next slide. I do want to call it just kind of two pieces here, and that's the rapid development. I kind of referenced it a little bit, that we build in a shorter sprints. We leverage and we continue to build upon in-house built tools like our workflow tool to be able to help react to our clients' needs much quicker than we would doing something from the ground up. We still will do ground up builds, but oftentimes we are leveraging things we've already done and then repurposing it, customizing it, tailoring it for our clients. So we are able to react to the market, react to our business very quickly. A lot of our clients, a lot of our needs is around a review tool, for instance, where the engagement is subject to court order, whether it's a litigation, for instance, and you don't have years in the timeline to be able to react to that. You have to do that within a couple of months. So having a rapid application development team and toolkits that we can leverage make that possible for FTI. And again, we're not necessarily competing with anybody. It's really just, this is what we have this, and we're able to do this and provide this for our clients. And then providing that market advantage, something that didn't exist before. A lot of times our clients are working in something in Excel. They're managing a process like a hospitality client that we have that originally was managing their sales incentive program. So their sales team and their payouts and commissions were all managed in Excel for 800 employees or 1,000 employees worldwide. That's not manageable. And they didn't have anything, there wasn't anything exist in the market that they can just go buy. So we built something for them specifically. So it helps them go back to their day job, focus on what they want to be able to do in terms of their business, and simplify that process. And then we build it for the exact specification. So again, we meet with the clients, we talk with the stakeholders, we build the tool exactly what they want. Again, we integrate with their procurement system or ERP system or their single sign-on, reporting tools, Power BI, those sort of things, and we integrate with their products, whitelist the application so it looks and feels like their own, but we still host it as a software as a service, and then we deploy it for them, and then use it for perpetuity, ideally. Tom, go to the next. And this is really just to highlight again that we are across all industries. These are some of the different industries that we have worked in. We do a lot with financial services. I mentioned hospitality. We do a lot of TMT and healthcare. So it's really where the need is, not necessarily where the industry is. And you would get exposure at FTI to multiple, if not all, of these different industries over the course of your lifetime at FTI. I've been at FTI for almost 20 years, and I've hit on all of these plus many, many more. So you do get a very diverse caseload and project load too. Tom, you go next. I'm going to turn over to David, I think. David Holland. David, are you there?
It is still on mute. Then can you cover the consulting and client service concentration of our developer role?
I can go through this. So every employee within the software solutions team is technically a non-billable professional, but that does not necessarily. I'll take a step back. So most of all of FTI are what are considered consultants and billable professionals. So every hour you work on a project, it's really directly related to and directly tied to a client. And so you're providing a client service, you're doing work for a client, you're billing your time to that client. Software solutions is designed a little bit differently in the sense that we do a lot of R&D, we do a lot of internal builds, where we build a solution and then we deploy that as a software service. So there's licensing associated to it. So we do a lot of things at a fixed fee or just a general non-billable activity because we're trying to build a product. It doesn't necessarily mean you're not a client service professional. You are still a client service professional because you're building a solution for our clients. So it falls into that same type of vein, same type of design as a your counterparts in DNA or FAS or DAS or whatever other team within FTI. You're doing a lot of the same things, you're just kind of coded a little bit differently in the back end. We still look for exactly the same type of makeup of a person. We're looking for a diverse makeup. We work in small teams. We just work for community driven, and as John spoke about, looking for diversity and inclusion as well. So we're following along those same lines. So you're still a client service professional. You're just doing things a little bit differently with an FTI.
David, Dan, can you hear me now?
Yes, we hear you now.
Sorry, I was on double mute. I just wanted to kind of layer into that with my own personal experience joining FTI and how FTI is somewhat unique in the industry when it comes to software development, as well as being at a professional services firm. I mean, I remember when I joined, I guess it's 10 years ago this month, I was struck by how how smart and professional and just energetic all of my colleagues were that were outside of software. And I was very excited to partner with them and bring my software expertise to the table to be an equal partner in their industry expertise, combining forces, going to market together. So that I think is an interesting sort of aspect of what we do here at FTI, where you can be a what I'll call a traditional software engineer or software developer in a more dynamic environment, perhaps than working on a technology product. And you know, the diversity of our teams, the small teams, so you get to know the people you work with, you get to know our clients and our partners, and develop those relationships as your career progresses here at FTI. So I think it is somewhat unique to have an agile team embedded within a larger global professional services firm, so you get the benefits of both sides. And if we can go to the next slide, speaking to what your career path may look like at FTI, starting out at the internship level or the entry level, all the way up to the most expert in your field, right? So we've got tracks for software development, for design and UX. If you're bringing your own expertise within software, that's not one of the two. There's many different disciplines within software. We encourage that. We embrace that. Everybody brings their own unique skill set. So we want to leverage that. We want to make an environment where you can make this your own career and own your career. So that's one of our mantras at FTI, to own your own career. And we provide the support to do that, while, you know, giving you opportunities to innovate, partner with all of the experts here at FTI, collaborate with other software engineers that are sitting next to you or working virtually with you. So I think it's an exciting place. And then the one thing to point out here is there's also a track for leadership. Leadership is an important aspect of the work we do at FTI. There's a lot of different types of leadership. Leading software teams is an important role on our team once you get to a more experienced or senior level. And then also just leading from a business perspective. So having the software background, but being able to come up with new solutions and taking those to market. But kind of bringing it back to what you do as a software engineer, a technical contributor, we have followed and continue to follow the agile process. So that's outlined here, where within those short sprints that Dan mentioned, typically it's 2 weeks, we go through the entire life cycle of a solution, of a software solution. So from planning, defining the scope, getting buy-in at each of these important early steps, making sure that we go through a design phase, whether it's visual design or technical design, and then actually implementation of the code, whether it's front end, back end, or full stack, and then making sure that goes through some rigor and review at both automated and manual for quality assurance and user acceptance. And then once those checks have all cleared, there's a number of them, a number of tools and tooling that we have in place that help you through the process. So we've matured quite a bit over the past decade as a team within FTI, building software. So there's a lot of support. As you write code, there's automated checks for security, for instance, to make sure that vulnerabilities are flagged right away. And you're able to address those because you have that insight in front of you. And then, you know, it gets released out, and then we repeat the cycle. So that's the process that we follow. You guys are probably familiar somewhat with Agile. We definitely practice that here. And that benefits our clients too, right? Because oftentimes they don't know the extent of what they need up front, and it's a learning process for them as well. And then as far as, tools, skills, and technology, it's an evolving toolkit. at FTI, ranging from front-end technologies like React and Angular, and RESTful APIs. We also leverage quite heavily the AWS cloud. Most of our solutions are deployed containerized out to AWS using Docker, and a slew of different security controls that AWS helps provide, and scalability as well. So there's a lot of different aspects here, but I would say if you take any of these away, or if you only take one of these away, I would say it's probably object-oriented programming or solid. Just the fundamentals is really what we look for in a candidate. So rather than specific languages or specific frameworks, it's more about, are you on track? Are you interested in learning to write clean object-oriented code? Naming conventions that are easy to read, stuff like that. So really fundamental stuff. But there's room for a lot of different skill sets and a lot of different interests on our team. And then I'm going to toss it back over to Tong to walk through an example of one of the solutions we've deployed, which we've actually scaled out significantly and deployed for many different clients over the past, I think, 4 years. Tong?
Can everyone hear me clearly? I switched my headset.
Yep.
Okay, thank you. So in this example, we have a client in the government space. They requires a web interface to track some financial workflows over the course of 5-year matter. This is an engagement our software solution team worked together with corporate finance, with some other segment together. It's a cross-segment effort. We joined their requirement gathering sessions and build out a, like that mentioned, a bespoke application. The tech stack we use are a PHP backend server and a Angular front-end single-page application. This application connects like the client system, import their data points, and have a user interface for different user roles that they can log in from their corporate single sign-on, and have, based on their different user roles, have different access level to the we call the records, and complete necessary steps in this whole workflow process. This solution, some key feature are like audit log. For example, there's an activity feed. So managers or like the auditors can review everything happened in the system and can be exportable. That's something very important for a lot of clients in the like government or like security industries. And from this client, moving on, we repurpose this solution and build this as a software as a service platform and engage in the future clients. In the next slide, this is a real picture of our New York office. We have 3 floors in Manhattan. Some of the highlights is for our software solution team is we have very clear career paths. In one of the slide, we showed you can do either a full stack software developer, or you can focus on some UX, UI career paths, or some like project management opportunities. And based on the type of client, it's very exciting opportunities and meaningful projects that you can touch while you're in FTI. The culture of the team is very collaborative and inclusive. And we will welcome you to join our team. On this page is the again, the application links for our 2025 positions. On the left is the internship position. On the right is the entry-level position. The application deadline is September 13th, this Friday, and you need to finish all the online recording by Sunday. If you have any questions, you can send emails to our early talent team. And I saw some of the question in the chat is if you already graduate, there is FTI career on the FTI website. There's FTI career link, and you can find our experienced roles, open positions. And if after this information session, if your background didn't really match or the software solution is not your real interest, you can also find other segments opportunities using the studentcareer.com link to find similar internship and entry-level position in the other segments. And now we can jump into our Q&A session. First, welcome to just post your question in the chat and we can read that out. Or if they're not answered, please just repost it. One question I'm reading from the beginning, if it's not answered yet, is do we get access to these slides at the end? John, can you answer that question?
We will not be providing the slides at this time, but we will be sending out a general communication to everybody regarding the information shared during this session.
This is a message from Samuel Rizzo, received master in software engineer in July. During my time as graduate student, so you are already graduate, so you can go to FTI career and find any opening positions for experienced hire. So another question is, Shubangi, what role can graduate in computer science with 1 to 2 year experience apply for? John, do you have the career link, like the one for the FTI positions? You can post in the chat.
Yeah,
So
I will post the link to the general early talent page that they can explore.
So another question about whether you are qualified to apply for the 2025 entry-level position. I think in the entry-level position is for the new graduate who are gonna graduate during December 24 and May or June 2025. So those positions are all for the new graduate without any they may have internship experience, but not a full-time experience.
And generally with our applications, I know a lot of people are asking about for eligibility based on grad date. The application, the job descriptions will have that very laid out for you. So regarding timelines in terms of everything that we discussed today, plus what we require for graduation requirements, that'll all be on those job applications. So you're going to be able to be guided there that if they say, based on what they say, we do follow exactly what those application job descriptions say. So those can be your guidelines for all things regarding basic requirements.
So I'll skip Sergio's question because it's a similar experienced professional question. Jennifer, next one is Jennifer. Have my graduate in biology and then master in data science in January. The graduation is end of 2026. So that is, I think it's qualified for the internship position. End of 20.
The dates are going to be on the job application. I would have to get more detail on what dates this candidate is talking about. I would just recommend that everyone checks out the job applications, because what they say. If you are getting a master's, though, you do qualify if your grad dates, and that directly follows your undergrad.
And next question is, how long do we expect to hear back after submitting the pre-recorded video?
Once applications close this week, I would expect communications, general communications, by sometime in October. I know we talked about deadlines for first round interviews, but a communication will be sent out no later than early October. So be patient with us as we work through these applications. As we do look at all of your applications, all of your video interviews. So it is a process that takes some time. So please be patient with us as we continue to go through those, but expect communications at some point early October.
The next one from Allison is, how can we access, submit the pre-record interview? John, is that like a yellow link?
That will be sent, if this is an early talent role, it'll be sent via email following your preference form, about 2 to 3 business days following the completion of a preference form.
Sunji asked, what is the typical tech stack that is used? In the example that I showed in this session is a front end, some TypeScript framework, either React or Angular. We use both for different clients. On the back end, we typically use like PHP, Python, Node, some script language as the server side. We use relational database, typically MySQL. I use a lot of AWS service, and locally using like a Docker to do some local containerized local service spin up. But generally, if you're familiar with web development, like skill set, that's typically the tech stack. A question from Chang: what would a software engineer intern day to day look like? David, do you want to take
Brad, do you want to take that?
Okay.
Brad's there.
Hello? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Sure. Typical day would be we'd probably do around the day starts at like around 9:30 a.m. 9 to 6 are working hours. And yeah, typically you would come in and answer any emails, and we would have meetings surrounding any projects that you're working on with your team leads. And yeah, and then you continue to work on the given tasks from each project that you're working on. And then in New York office, we have lunch around noon, and typically go out as a group and
and I can add, based on our past internship program, it's like 10 10-week program. So we rotate the interns usually on two different projects. You can do like back-end work or front-end work, different tickets. Like Abrar mentioned, the daily routine is you come in, takes the priorities at the beginning, but also based on your project team, you have daily stand-up, weekly planning or bi-weekly planning meetings to know your contribution, like know your duty every day. And then the rest of the day is mainly like work on yourself or have your coach help, like some team member to help discuss the solution, find out the solution. We do code review. So after you finish some of the feature, writing down some code, there will be code review process. I think that's typically the intern program. We also have like team lunch, team outing. It's a fun time during summer.
Good. How's everything? Yeah, I have a good too. Okay, things
A question is from Erica. How often do software developers meet with client directly? And David or anyone wants to answer this question? And based
Yeah,
on
I can
different
take
levels?
Dave, go ahead.
Was the question, how often do developers interface with clients?
Directly, yes.
I would say it depends on what level you're at. If you're at the entry level, you will be working on a team, so it's not your sole responsibility to communicate directly with clients, but you'll be invited to some of the status meetings to get feedback from the client. But typically we'll have a more senior person lead those discussions, but you'll have the opportunity to participate. So the more senior you get in your career, the more opportunities you'll have to directly interface with clients, try to get a sense of what their needs are, how we can use technology to solve their challenges. And yeah, so I think it varies a little bit. Not everybody in a technical role is interested in client communication, whereas many people are interested. So it also hinges upon how interested you are in that. So we've got room for both sides of that.
Thank you, David. Another question from Amy asking, what does the 2025 Impact Leadership Program experience looks like? I know this working session is mainly focused on internship and the entry level. John, do you want to briefly talk about the Impact program?
Sure. Yeah. The last couple of years, the Impact program has been a 2-day virtual experience where you have the opportunity to learn about our different segments and practices and meet and network with people who are FTI employees, consultants through directors and senior directors, all who are sitting down to meet with you just to discuss what the practices look like, the day-to-day and opportunities like that. So it's a more general experience, specifically geared towards sophomores to learn about FTI and get that front-end experience before hopefully participating in an internship after their junior year.
Thank you. Next question is, what is the most interesting project that you work on for a client? And anyone from our team wants to take that first, and I can add another example. Oh, I saw David.
I'll answer. I'll start generally. I mean, I've been here for a very long time, so I've worked on a lot of different projects, but answering it more generally in the sense that a lot of the work that we do are front page news because it's litigation or some sort of merger, acquisition, bankruptcy. So they are front page news types of engagements that you work on. So really that's a collective. They're pretty interesting. Like maybe FTI isn't always named in the work, but when you open the newspaper or look online and you see some news talking about the engagement, you have an impact on that because you worked on that engagement. So I think collectively, like what we've done is we do at FTI is very interesting. There's a lot of individual and soundbite examples, but from the collective, I do like that aspect of what we do at FTI, and it's very meaningful from the overall landscape perspective.
And I'll add on to that as well. I think not really one specific project, but the types of projects that I usually find the most interesting are the really large projects. So when we have a team that spans across multiple groups at FTI and maybe we're up against a pretty tight deadline, I find that those can be really engaging because we have to come up with very creative solutions to things. Usually building in some sort of automation or kind of like getting more and more technical because we literally can't afford to do it manually. So I find that those projects are really engaging and kind of bring out the best of everybody's skills.
And I want to add one, not example, but one point that is interesting is when you are new to a new engagement, you probably don't know much about the industry, and you will learn terms about anti-money laundering, terms about like credit disputes, hospitality, like incentive programs, different industries. And once you are like an expert in that industry, the opportunity is you can bring those knowledge to the similar client and help them to do the same thing. And our team is like still have this spirit, is like a startup spirit, is find new opportunities. We are not just sitting on a existing tool and then do repeating work. We are finding new opportunities. So that is very exciting. We do have technical interviews. How does application looks like after the recording is the first round interview. The first round interview is very generic. And then the second round interview has a fitness interview and technical interview. What do Super Day interview looks like? So for this year, we'll do it all virtual. So it's all Teams virtual interview. You will talk with I think 3 interviewers. One is a behavioral or fitness interview. Second is technical interview, and the third is a closing. I think that's the end of all the questions. John, do you have any other closing reminder or like highlights you want to remind all the applicants or candidates?
No, other than make sure you get your application in by Friday. Expect communication. Make sure you also complete the preference form for software solutions and for and the virtual interview. And you can expect to hear back from us in the next couple of weeks as we make sure to review your resume along with everyone else's. Following that, again, we'll have first rounds and Super Days some point in October. So you can expect that timeline to hold pretty much as is. So looking forward again to seeing your applications come in. And from the recruiting aspect, thank you again for taking time out of your day to learn a little bit about one of our practices.